Excellent. Well, the first thing to do, Captain Murray, I think it is, I heard you were a tennis player, is to welcome you on board.
Thank you very much.
And into flight experience, and we're sitting at the Hotel Sierra 2 hold for runway 31. So, carrying on from the video, I know you've got a lot of aviation experience already, so we'll keep the more basic stuff out of the way. So obviously this is your primary flight and control, it only works in the air, and it just requires a light grip, and as you know, you can put your hands on there to turn left, you turn it to the left, and to turn it to the right to go right, so you can turn it, there you go, like that, to the left, and then to the right, okay, and to descend we push it forward, that's it, and then to climb we pull it back, that's it.
Okay.
Good, so that's the tiller, nose wheel steer there.
Okay.
It's quite sensitive,
Okay.
and my advice to you is if you're already heading straight, try not to move it, because you do tend to sort of wander backwards and forwards a little bit. So as I say, pretty sensitive, but you know, if you don't move it too much, you'll be able to maintain a nice straight line. Okay.
What's your name?
It's Patrick.
Patrick.
Yes, very Irish as well.
Yeah, Patrick. What's this for?
Right, that is for what we call an aide memoire. It doesn't actually do anything. When you've got a flight number, pilots have difficulty remembering flight numbers, so you just put it in there.
Okay.
So you'll just key in. So let's have a look here. What have we got? We've put in a route with a flight number 556.
So 556.
So yeah, we just put 556 in there, so it just reminds us of what we're doing. Trim, yeah.
Autopilot off?
Yeah, that's autopilot, and PTT switch is behind on the column.
Trigger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that disengaged?
That disengage. You normally have to do it twice, because the first time disengages the autopilot. Second time, you get then you get the alarm, and the second push turns the alarm off.
Okay.
But we're not going to have the autopilot on anyway, so there we are. Right. So let's go over to the rudders. You're familiar that they move the vertical tab at the back of the fin. Okay. And they work more or less like in a light aircraft. You have your heels on the floor and press the bottom of the pedals to operate the rudders.
Okay.
We only need to operate them on the ground, because in the air we don't need to push the rudders because we have a yaw damper system. Okay. Okay. To operate the foot brakes, you lift your feet up onto the pedals. Okay, and then there's the brakes, okay? And we use those to engage and disengage the park brake. So when you put your feet onto the brakes now and press down and hold them there, pull the lever back and hold that back, release your feet first. That's it, now you can release that. Good. Okay, and to release the park brake, you would just put your feet up onto the brakes and press down, and that releases. Okay, so over here to the throttle quadrant, we have first of all our thrust levers. We have one per engine, okay, and we have a little trend vector that moves underneath. So here, if I want to set 40% power, I can see what I'm doing by just moving the line there, and you see that little trend vector?
Yeah.
So when it gets to about 40%, I can just let go.
Gotcha.
All right. So I've set approximately 40%. Okay, we seem to have got a little bit of a asymmetric for some reason. I need to adjust the potentiometer on that. Okay, so that's how that's set. So if you'd like to have a go at setting 40%, so you just move it, look at the little trend vector, move it almost as fast as you like. Okay, keep going, that's it. Just bring the line up to the 4. That's it, keep it going, there we go. That's it. Great, now pull them back. That's okay, so the reverse thrust, obviously we use that to help slow down on landing, and you pull it up to the first detemp position, and you'll see that change to REV, like that. Okay, when it's green, we can then go full reverse. Okay, so you get a feel for that one as well.
Okay, even when these are on idle.
Yeah, well, but once these are on, this will lock these. You won't be able to move them. So pull them up to the first detent to get reverse. Okay, there we go. And now you can apply as much as you reverse thrust as you want.
Okay, so you can vary it. You can go partial.
You can go, Um,
Okay.
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 Right, so flap lever, and you know the flaps are for, basically, they extend out the back of the wing and have the purpose of making the surface area larger to generate more lift,
Nice Fowler flaps.
which are what we use for takeoff and landing. So takeoff, when we go here to the takeoff page, it says flaps 5.
Fine.
Okay, so that's the standard takeoff setting. Okay, so when we move the flap lever, all you do is lift it up and move it, okay, to whatever position you want. There are 2 safety gates,
Yes.
at 1 and 15, which
Yes.
is to stop pilots going full flap up or full flap down in one movement.
Yes.
Okay, so when you want to go up, flaps up here, you've got to go through the flap 1 gate.
Raise it.
Okay, and then you put a little bit of pressure to go forward to flaps up. So
Okay.
when you come back into the gate, you've got to have a little bit of pressure this way
Sure.
to come this way. Okay,
Gotcha.
same here into 15, and then lift into 30, which
Gotcha.
will we'll be using 30 as our landing configuration.
And is
So-
there an indicator to say that it's in position? Oh, I see
Here it
yeah,
is. Okay, so I want you now to go through the gate to 30, into 15. That's it.
Stop at the gate.
Yeah.
And then we go down.
Correct. Into 30. That's 25. That's 30. Perfect. Now let's see if we can get all the way up to flaps up.
Okay.
So into the gate, the 15 gate.
The gate. Hold.
Yeah. Through
Then we go through
all the way to 1.
to 1 gate.
Yeah. And then up to 0.
And then we lift to.
So just a little bit of pressure that way. That's
Yep.
it. And then lift. Okay, fine. Let's go back to. You cracked that one pretty quickly. Let's go back to.
5.
Yeah. So we'll just check one thing while we're here. We've got a trim of around 5. So trim gauge is here. It's very basic on a Boeing.
Yeah.
There's no digital readout,
Okay.
but you see the little pointer's just
Yeah.
about at 5, so that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. Right. So the trim wheel is operated by the thumb switch here.
Gotcha.
Okay. So nose down, you push it up,
Yep.
and for nose up, you push it down. Okay.
Gotcha.
All right. Boeing, they do need quite a lot of trimming. Okay, so don't be afraid to trim away. But I will again help you with that.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll go over here. You're used to glass cockpits, so
Okay.
this is obviously the sky and the ground, the horizon line with our aircraft sitting on it, right wing, left wing, and the nose. Speed in knots, nautical miles an hour, and height, altitude in feet above sea level.
Yeah.
Okay, is here. These here are our degrees of pitch or descent. Okay, and here are our angles of bank. What we're going to try and do in the circuit, I mean it's up to you, but normally we get clients to try and do 20 degrees in the turn. If you feel that you want to do a slightly tighter turn and try it, fine by me.
Okay.
So basically, these are 2.5 degrees each.
Okay.
So on takeoff, for instance, we'd be going up to 15 degrees.
Okay.
Initial climb out to 1,000 feet, and then we just drop the nose down to 1,000 feet to get the acceleration going in order to bring the flaps up.
Okay.
All right. So straight level flight is around 3.5 degrees between the first 2.5 and the 5
Okay.
degree line. It's going to be more or less the
Okay, so
the
she's
setting.
Nose up.
yeah, and then you know with the turn at 20 degrees, just put it up a little bit, 4 to 5 degrees.
Okay.
Okay, so those are basically all the settings here. This is our navigation display. Just works more or less like a car GPS, so that we're looking down on the roof of the plane, which is the triangle.
Yep.
The triangle is always going that way. So when you're in your car and you're turning left, okay, the car doesn't suddenly turn left and shoot off the screen
Yeah.
that way. The road you want to go round revolves around until it's pointing the same way as the car.
Yeah.
It's moving map display.
Yeah.
The world revolves around us.
Exactly.
Okay, added benefit, we've got a compass here so we always know what direction we're going in.
Okay.
Okay, here the engine instruments. So N1 actually measures the fan speed, the big lump at the front of the engine.
That's it.
So that's N1, and that gives us our primary thrust indication. Okay, exhaust gas temperature, just make sure that things aren't getting too hot inside the engine. This is like our fuel gauge.
Okay.
We don't have any fuel in the center tank because we're only doing circuits,
Okay.
which is why the two center fuel pumps are off.
Okay.
Okay. Here, N2. This is the speed and percentage
Yeah.
of the hot part of the engine, the turbine and compressor stages here, and secondary engine measurements like oil pressure, temperature, and quantity. Okay, so we normally fly with this off, and we transfer the information from here to here by just pressing this button,
VTB pad?
engine vibration.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you've just pressed the engine button here. If you do that for me, that's it. Okay, so we've transferred everything there, and we've turned this off.
Okay.
And the reason we do that, this is now an alarm screen, an alert screen.
Gotcha.
If anything goes wrong, it comes alive. We know we've got a problem, and we know we've got to do something about it,
Okay.
like there and then. Okay, very good. So we're going to just do the pre-taxi onto the runway procedure. So we want to make sure that the cabin crew are all sitting down with their belts on, and we normally just flick the fasten seatbelt sign to the off position and then back onto the on position. So if you do that, just flick it all the way to the off. It's just the fasten seatbelt one, that's it. And then back on. When they hear the two dings, they sit down, put their belts on.
Okay.
And like as you know, we need a little bit of visibility, so we put our fixed landing lights on. So put those forward, those two, and our strobes. That's it. And finally we put our transponder on. Okay, so turn that round to,
Oh,
yeah, Tara. Okay, good. So with that all set, we can take the part brake off with your feet. Okay, so taxiing thrust to get rolling at around just over 30%, and you get ready to just bring it back, the thrust a little bit back towards 30%. We try not to go over 10 knots, which you'll see there. If you are, just little light dabs on the brakes. Okay, if you push them all the way down, we'll just grind to a halt. So it's a bit like approaching a roundabout when there's nobody on it, but you're not sure if something going to whip round, you know. So you come down nice and gently. Okay. Good. All right. So let's go. Follow the yellow line. There is a slight parallax error in the system. So we're on a sort of a compromise central position. Okay. So the yellow line should be more or less lined up with your right leg.
Okay.
So try and, when you're lining up with the runway or with that, try and make sure it's lined up more or less with your right leg.
Okay.
Okay, let's go on to the runway. So just over 30%, and that will get us rolling. There we go. Okay, keep the speed up until you need to throttle back, because you're back down to 20 now. So keep it just above 30. Let's get ourselves up to about 8 knots first.
Okay.
And then, that's it. That's perfect. Now, keep it going. A minimum of 30.
Okay.
Okay, so you've seen the Canadaires, the sort of firefighting things they have over on the military side of the airfield. I'm just going to do one little correction here. I just want to go into the weather and change the wind direction. Otherwise we'll have some conflicting air traffic. Okay, when you're nicely lined up, just bring it to a halt. Good, and you should, as you've just about got 312, 313 is perfect.
Okay.
Okay, that's the runway heading.
Okay.
Very nice. Okay, good. So takeoff procedure, when we're ready, is you put 40% on and wait for the engines to stabilize. Okay.
Okay.
Both engines. So you just put 40% and wait, and then I want you to put the auto throttle system on for me. So just push that up, and once that's armed, okay, we can then use what we call the automated takeoff go around button, which is that one.
Okay.
So that turns everything on, and that, when we're approaching, turns everything off.
Okay.
Okay, so that's your auto throttle disconnect.
So does that bring in the flight director as well?
The flight director I've turned off at the moment, as
Okay.
we're just going around in the circuit.
Okay, fine.
But yeah, I mean, well, basically the VNAV will be coupled to the vertical and the speed information from the computer.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So once you press the toga button,
Okay.
the throttles will advance on their own automatically, and you just now have to steer with your feet,
Okay.
left to go left and right to go right
Okay.
on the pedals, and we'll see the speeds come alive, and then we just cross-check at 80 knots that both
Okay.
are the same, and then we're just going to carry on down the moment, and when you hear V1,
Okay.
I'll say, which is about 131 knots, I'll say rotate. You just pull both hands on here and just pull back nice and smoothly, and try and get the nose, which is the little square, up onto that 15-degree line there. And then as it's approaching that 15-degree line, just ease the column back into the central position.
Okay.
Okay? And if you then find the nose is still trying to go up or down, just readjust with the column and then try and trim
Adjust.
to adjust. Okay? We go up to 1,000 feet, and then we're going to drop the nose down to 10 degrees. Okay?
Okay.
And then the speed will increase, and we'll bring up the flaps. Just after we lift off, as soon as you can see, this is your vertical speed indicator. So when that little needle here starts to go up, that's a positive rate,
Okay.
and you can then bring the undercarriage up.
Okay.
Okay? And that's done by pulling it out first to unlock
Okay.
it, and then lifting all the way to the up position.
Okay.
Okay?
So the climb out speed is
You'll be lifting off at around 145. You
Okay.
know, we'll be doing about 145 as we climb out, but it will be accelerating all the time, albeit quite slowly. And then it will, as you put the nose down to 10 degrees, it will start to increase.
Okay.
And you'll then change this to, we'll go 230 knots in the circuit. So you'll wind this round to 230 and press the speed button
Okay.
to hold the speed.
and the flaps to be tracked.
And the flaps will retract. You'll get an indication, because this is where the flap indication strip is here on
Okay,
the
got
side.
it. Yeah.
So as you see the one
Yes.
coming past here, you will just pick this up and select flaps 1, and then you'll see flaps up coming through, and then you can just go flaps up.
Okay.
Okay, it's pretty simple.
Okay.
It's not complicated. Okay, good.
Okay.
All the best to you, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right. So let's start off with acknowledging takeoff by putting our retractables on. That's it. And now we're going to push and select manually 40% power. Okay, so all the way up to the 4. Keep going, that's good. That's fine. Wait for the engines to stabilize. Excellent. And toga button. That's one there. That's it. Okay. So remember, left pedal to go left, so you need just a little bit. There we go. Very nice. Okay, our speeds are alive. 80 knots. Cross check.
80 knots.
Very nice. Right on the centre line. That's what I like to see. Okay, and rotate. So pull back. Nose up to about 15 degrees. That's good. Okay. And just let the column gently come forward. Okay. That's it. There you are. She's almost perfectly in trim. That's fine. So you might need a little bit of trim nose up or down. There you are. Perfect. So positive rate, gear up. Do you want me to do the gear or?
Yeah, gear
Okay.
3 track, thanks.
Okay. Gears up. Okay, we've been through 1,000 feet. So let's just drop the nose down to 10 and you'll start seeing accelerating. There we go, perfect. A little bit nose up. And you've gone through flaps 1, so let's go flaps to 1.
Flaps to 1.
And now flaps up. That's it. Speed set 230.
Speed set 230.
And press the speed button. Lovely. There we go.
Okay.
Very nice. And look, basically more or less on the runway heading. So
Yep.
normally I'm pointing at least 40 degrees off by now with normal clients. So it's nice to have somebody who has got some idea of what they're doing. So let's just continue up to about 3,000 feet. But by all means, which you can choose which direction to go in the circuit. You can choose right first, left second, whatever you like. So, so let's start turning around and try and maintain something like 20 degrees of bank in the turn. Okay. Very nice. A little bit more on the turn. That's 10 degrees there. And 20. That's it. Okay. And let the column forward a little bit because we're climbing up a little bit. We want to try and maintain around 3,000 feet. But that's pretty good. So I'm going to select a new heading for you, 133. Okay. That's good. We maintain that 20 degrees very nicely. Just watch you don't come miles past the 3,000 foot mark. Okay, and I'll just go through the after takeoff procedure for you just to show you what we do. We turn the retractables off, runway turn off and taxi lights off, and we turn the engine start switch systems off. Very good. How does this compare with your machines?
It's actually it's very responsive.
Yes.
It's more responsive than I thought.
It is actually a little bit more sensitive than the real thing.
Yeah.
And also the airline's own simulators. And we don't find that a bad thing, simply for the fact that it's probably a little bit harder on this to get it right on this one because there is a tendency to overcorrect. So getting it right does take, you know, a little bit more finesse than the other simulators. And so actually when the students go for their assessment, they come back and say, oh God, it's actually a lot easier than I thought it would be. So we're not too unhappy that it's a bit more sensitive than possibly it should be. Okay, remember your heading, sorry, was 133.
Sorry.
So that's okay. So just head back to the right a little bit. There we go, fantastic. And make sure we've got some mountains ahead, so minimum 3,000. If you want to put a couple, 200 or 300 foot more between us and the mountain, I'm quite happy for you to do that.
Okay.
So while we're here, we'll talk about the approach. So the first thing I will do is I normally press this twice, this for the 30-degree flap approach speed, and now you've got it come up here, reference 30 degrees, 141.
Got it.
Okay, so when it says 141, because it is that is the reference speed, we always add 5 knots as a safety margin.
Okay.
So we're going to be setting on our speed 146 knots, okay? So now we're sort of over the mountains. This is the airport, as you can see.
Yeah.
This is us. and that's the extended center line.
Okay.
All right. So when we go to beam, more or less, we'll
Yeah.
start the slowing down process.
Okay.
So the first thing I'd want you to do is just wind the speed back to about 210 knots, 210.
210.
That's it. Leave the speed as it is because
Okay.
the speed is already engaged and the throttles are coming back
Okay.
accordingly. And if you want to just gently descend at about 2.5 degrees where you are now, okay, try not to get it down below the horizon line.
Okay.
A little to the left, other way.
Oh yeah, sorry.
That's it. That's super. Okay, that's fine. Very nice. Come down about 2.5 degrees. When you see the guide slope come alive,
Yeah.
okay, I want you to immediately go flaps 1, change the speed to 190, and almost as you do that, bring the nose up to about 6 degrees.
Okay.
So when it becomes alive, we're a little bit
Okay.
premature, yeah?
We're waiting for this guy.
Yeah. So as soon as you see it sort of become alive, then
Yeah.
we start doing all that, and then you bring the nose up to 6 degrees and start your turn onto your base leg.
Okay. Continue descent.
Yeah, continue. There we go. Now she's alive.
Yeah.
So flaps 1, okay, 190,
190.
nose up to 6 degrees. That's it. Keep pulling it up a bit so we don't get the localizer shooting up here.
Yes.
So keep pulling up a little bit more
See
and
your
start
localizer.
turning to the left. Okay. Now you see here there's a
Yeah.
little white trend vector.
See the trend vector here.
Okay. So that needs to be always pointing at the where you want to be. So you might need a little bit more turn.
Okay.
If it curls up inside here, you're undershooting.
Okay.
If you see it when it gets to it's going through it, you're overshoot. Okay. So that looks pretty good. And you've got a little bit of climb on, which is fine.
Yeah.
So that's kept that. That's
We just
yep. That's kept that more or less in the middle. That's perfect. Absolutely perfect. So as we go round on this particular sector, we want now to be with flaps 5 and 170, more or less. So as you can see, actually we've got only 2.8 tons of fuel on board. See where the 5 is? So the speed is a mismatch. So
Yes.
the 170 is with 8 tons. So you can see I wanted to do that to show you there's a difference. So the
Yes.
speeds all change.
see
So
that.
I want you now to just match the speed with the 5 by turning it until it's over the top of the 5. That's perfect. So it's actually 166, not 170. So there's a difference of 4 knots because of the difference of the fuel loading.
Gotcha.
Okay? Okay, you might need to increase the rate of turn just a little bit because you're going to...
Yes.
There we go. So once that's overlapping, that's perfect.
Okay.
Very good. Okay, I will do some
Put it in
things
the
for you.
high.
So retractable lights, runway lights, taxi, starters to continuous. Okay, order brakes. We're going to make sure they're off and the speed brakes are retracted, that are stowed because we're doing a touch and go.
See this guy coming up here?
Yeah,
We're too low, are we?
we are a little bit low, but you know, just not. It's not too bad by the
Okay.
perspective. So you can now take a little bit of a visual clue
Yeah.
from the runway ahead. Okay, but
Got it.
it's still solid, which means you're not that far. So just just try and go level. Don't descend anymore.
Yeah.
Just pull back now and try and remain level. Like we're descending still. So keep pulling back. There we go. That's good. And trim if you have to. A little bit of nose up trim might help. That's it. Good. Now you see she's just gently going to drift back. If you start seeing the throttles advancing too much, that will force the nose up. Okay, and you will have to correct by pushing the nose down. Okay. So you're also seeing that you need to fly left. You're right at the center line.
Yes.
Okay. So just try and correct that a little bit, and remember to try and get it lined up with your right leg.
Yeah.
Okay, now get the nose down because otherwise this is going to shoot down here. There we go, very nice. 7 miles, so let's get the gear down. So if you pull the gear out and down, okay, flaps 15. And max speed, because I don't know what it is. So turn that until it's over the 15 on the flap strip. There we go. 155, okay? 8 tons, it's 160. So that's why we now sort of say max speed.
Okay. Still right of center?
Yeah, you just a little bit now. So, but that's all very good. It's all very stable. Your trim is pretty good. You might want, by the time you, so let's get your flaps 30. So make sure that we're fully configured by 1,000 feet and max speed. Okay, sorry, 146. 146. Other way. That's it. It doesn't go right over the top of it because with 5 knots, nose up a little bit. So when we come over the runway, okay, so when you hear between sort of 40 feet, I want you just to close the throttles down.
Okay.
Okay. Then at 10 feet, just a tiny flare. It is a tiny movement on this aircraft.
Okay.
If you do it like a light aircraft where it just balloons straight up.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a very small movement.
Still a little bit.
Yes.
Still a little bit right.
Yeah, but it's drifting, so you're all right. So I'd correct back to the right now. And probably a little bit more. There we go. Nose up a little bit. That's it.
300.
So I'll disconnect the auto throttle for you. You're back on glide. It's good. So remember, 40 feet.
Minimums.
Just close the throttles. When you hit
100. 50. 40.
close.
30.
Okay, good.
20.
Little flip. Not too much. That's it. Oh, very gentle. There we are. We're down. Perfect. Well done. Okay, so I'll go flat 15, steer a little bit left pedal, and then put the power up, all the way up. And we're excellent. Okay, I'll take control of the throttles and rotate. Very nice. And we got positive rate, gear up. Yep.
Gears up.
Okay, you can go straight to flaps 5 now. Oop, that way, that's it. Okay, and so we're now in our almost standard takeoff configuration again. Okay, I would just push the auto throttle on, hit the speed button, okay, and now change that to 230. Good. All right, we're already down at 10, so we can bring the flaps up now. You can see they've gone past the marker. Okay, that's 1, and now up. That's it. Good, and in your own time, you can start a turn to the right, again onto 133. It's already set. Okay. Trying to maintain 3,000 feet. Your aircraft have electric trimmers, do they?
Yeah. I don't think you really feel the heaviness of it.
You don't.
You do.
You do if you're having to constantly apply force, but if you can trim that force out, you can fly with just very light fingers, and it's like just going for a Sunday drive, really.
Yeah.
I must admit, it wasn't until I first flew solo that I actually really appreciated a well-trimmed aircraft, because it was probably my instructor who was constantly sort of adjusting everything for me, saying that I was no good at it, and after that, well, as soon as I took off for the first time and found the aircraft quite a handful, I suddenly thought, ooh, well, maybe this trimming lark's there's something to it.
10 to go.
Excellent. Okay. Wings level. That's it. Perfect. Okay, so let's do our after takeoff check. So
Gears up.
the gear what we do is normally gear off like this, and that
Okay.
turns all the hydraulics off.
Okay.
At the moment, while it's up, the hydraulics still are on. So we turn the gear hydraulics off completely.
Okay.
All right, and we turn the retractables off. Okay, the fixed stay on under 10,000 feet.
Okay.
So these go off like that. Runway turn off and taxi lights go off and the starters go off. Okay, so while we're thinking about landing modes, we're going to do exactly the same thing. So I will see how it's changed.
Yes.
It's not 141, it's 140, because we now got only 2.3 tons.
Okay.
So it's constantly updating what
Okay.
we're doing. Okay, so we'll, at the moment, as you can see, there's no reference here, but as soon as I press this twice, you'll see the reference come up just in here.
CHS.
Okay, 30 degrees, 140. So we've set our reference now. Okay, but this is going to be a full stop landing.
Okay.
So I want you to set order brakes to 2. Okay, and arm the speed brake. And arming the speed brake is literally, I'll show you how it's done. You lift it up, pull it back off just a fraction, and drop. And you get that light come on.
Speed brake on.
So if you do that for me. That's it. That's all there is to it. So that will
Okay.
come back on its own. That lever will come back on its own. You won't have to worry about that. Splendid. So let's just start slowing down to 210 knots. There we are, and a gentle descent. Nice, and in a minute this will come alive and we'll do the same thing.
Okay.
Okay, we'll go flats 1, 190,
Okay.
6 degrees, and start our turn to the right.
Okay.
There we go, up she comes. So flaps 1. Okay, yep, 190.
190.
Okay,
Let me
nose
take
up about 6 degrees. 6 degrees, just above the 5 there. Okay, that's it, because we want to sort of fly level or climb slightly. Okay, a little bit more nose up. And you see how the auto throttles are reacting to your speed input. They're just slowing you down gently to 190. That's very good. You're turning a little tightly. Can you see you're going to be turning well inside
see
the
that, yeah.
centre line? So just keep an eye on the little trend line there. And let's go flats 5, 1, and match speed. Flats 5 now, match speed. Okay, so just turn it to the left
Oh, yes.
until it's over the 5. That's it. Perfect. Well done.
Okay.
Like a pro.
Turn a little bit too much.
While it's overlap, that'll be fine. Just check your descent as well.
Yeah.
Just a little bit low. So on this time, it's exactly the same procedure. Okay, we'll get around 40 feet, close the throttles. But this time, as we touch down, pull these back, the reverse thrust levers back. And remember to have your feet on with your, make sure your heels are on the floor, simply for the fact if you try and operate the rudder pedals with your feet up on them, you'll probably disconnect the order brake.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay? And that then can lead to a bit of confusion because you think the order brake's on and it's not, and you wonder why you're not stopping. You'll soon see if you kick the order brake off, that light goes orange.
Okay.
Okay, over to the left I think a little bit.
Yeah.
And we're coming up 7 miles, so let's get the gear down. Flaps 15. And match speed.
Speed.
And keep that realignment over to the left.
See that, yeah.
Very nice. Okay, let's put your retractables on. All these three: runway, turn off, and taxi. Okay, I'll do the starters and taxi, and I'll do the starters for you. This is a really good height.
Okay.
You've got nice half white, half red on the pappies.
I got
Okay.
it, Jim.
Now we're slightly low, so that nose can just be, and I'll start to turn to the right, to align. That's it. Good, 1200. Let's get the flaps to 30. Speed 145. That's it. Just a couple more. Start. There we are. And go to the left quickly. There we are. And you're just about bang on line.
Yep.
Get ready to push that nose down because it's just changed more to the white. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay. Keep that nose down a little bit. There we go. We're going. That's a bit high, but it's still illuminated, so it's not too much to self-correct.
Gear down.
Yeah,
Full
already
flaps.
done. Yeah, flaps 30.
Okay, we got a red and a white.
Yeah.
Puppies.
Make sure you, now just bring that nose up to check the rate of descent. A little bit. Yeah, we go about 800 feet per minute down is
Okay.
perfect. That's really nice.
500.
Lovely.
400.
She'll probably just fly herself to the ground like this. A little bit nose up.
Approaching minimums. 200.
Remember, 40 feet, close the throttles,
Minimums.
touchdown, tiny flare, okay,
100.
reverse thrust, and steer with heels on the floor on the pedals.
50. 40.
Okay, close the throttles,
30.
lovely,
20.
that's fine, let her come,
10.
perfect. Oh, I couldn't do better myself, right, okay, and reverse thrusters, and left, slightly left pedal, all the way back. And at 60 knots, ground speed, just close the reversers down. That's it. Now, that'll be fine. Just close them off. Now dab your brakes, the manual brakes, just dab them just to make sure you've disarmed the order brake. And we can taxi up, okay, and take the next turn off.
Okay.
So if you give this like a little bit of squirt of power,
Okay.
it will stow the order brake. So give it a bit of a oomph like that, okay? See how that went up?
Yeah.
Okay, so that gets rid of the, gets the speed brakes down. Okay. So I'll do the flaps come up. So you might need a little bit of, a minimum of 30%. Okay. A little bit more. There we go. That's good. Now basically if you just, you know, control your speed with the brakes, just leave the power as it is. You can leave it at this setting and just control it with the brakes.
Okay.
All right. Good. So now we're clearing the runway. We turn all our landing lights off. That's it. Keep those on, and just the strobes. We turn those off. Okay. Now we're non-critical. We can turn the the start systems off, to the off position, both engines, and all the brakes to off. Okay. Transponder into standby. Okay, and we'll go around to the right, and we'll pretend that you've got a plane full of passengers, and we're dropping them off here before picking up a load more going back to Dublin or wherever. Okay, so once you've got round the corner, I want you to start the APU, and I'll tell you how to do that.
Okay.
Round to the right, all the way round. That's it. There we go. Perfect. And we won't go in this next exit. We'll take the second entrance into Terminal 3. Okay, so pull this out and push it forward. Out and forward. There we go. So you've got low oil pressure light come up on the APU. So the APU is now in the process of starting.
Okay.
And we just keep wait and we let the system start up, and eventually we'll get a little blue light here which will say APU Gen. So
Put it here.
next one.
Okay.
So it's just starting up. So that's the exhaust gas temperature of the APU. Good. So just dab your 17 knots, which is fine on this. Just dab the brakes and try and get it down to about 10. There's 16, 15. Okay, brake off. Okay. So just always a very light one, and round to the left. Okay. Can you see this blue light has just come on now? Okay. Which means our APU is ready when we need it. Good. Okay, round to the right. We'll go up this one here, which is number 42. Round to the left. Up here. Slow down a little bit. There we are. Just dab the brakes. Good. So now you turn the taxi lights off, because if you was a guy with a bat, he'd be blinded by now. So you turn these 3 off. That's it. Oh, you stopped. Okay, brakes off. There we go. Try and line up with the yellow line. Okay. So it's very light touches on the brakes. Really small movement. And once we get onto the yellow line, the guide will help you into position. So can you see it's just come alive?
Yes.
All right. So it will either say keep coming, or it will go left, or go right, or go left. So slow down a touch. Just no. Okay. Give it a bit of a squirt. That's fine. Back. Look to the right a little bit, left rather. Okay, and okay, brake. Perfect. Close the throttles and apply the park brake. So remember, take your feet off first. That's it.
That's it.
Well done.
Excellent.
Okay, so we'll be sitting here, okay? So the first thing we do, all right, so that we need to put power onto the aircraft, electrical power. So all these switches are critical switches, whereas these are not. That's why they're different shapes.
Okay.
So you always have to think about what you're doing with these switches. So that's why you always have to pull them out to manipulate them.
Yes.
Whereas these just, okay, it's not life or death whether the strobe goes on or not. So the 2 middle ones, I want you to pull out and go forward with them. that one, okay, all the way forward, that's good. Right, good. So we now, if we move the AP Gen selector, that's it, we've got power, perfect. All right, so now what we can do, we've disconnected the main engine generators, we can just shut the main engines down. So we just pull that out and down. Okay, so we leave this fuel pump on for the APU, but we turn all these three off. So pull them out and then up. So that one stays on. So yeah, pull that out and up. That one as well as this one here as well. Okay. Passengers by this time are dying to get off, so we let them off now. So let them up there. They love that sound. Okay, and now we've got to give them some air conditioning. So because the engines have stopped, the engine bleeds have stopped. Yes. So we now open the APU bleed, okay, to provide the air. So pull that out and forward. And that is now feeding just one of the air conditioning packs.
Yes.
So we want it to go into both. So we now have to open this valve, which is called the isolation valve. Excellent. All right, so now we want to turn off the window heats and the probe heats. So they all go off. That's it. And the probe heats go off. Okay, and now we can turn our electric hydraulics off. Again, pull the two middle ones out and up. That's it. And finally, we can turn the anti-collision light off. Okay, and that signifies to the ground crew it's now safe for them to approach.
Okay.
And that was very well flown, sir.
Thank you very much.
I enjoyed that myself. I had very little to do. So well done, well done.
That was very interesting. Thank you.
Yeah?